Hi. TW, or before you watch this video, if you're someone who's sensitive around the deep topics or stuff about depression, heavy topics, then maybe don't watch this video. Maybe watch something more fun on my main channel. But yeah, roll the intro. Hi, welcome back to Warnish Radio, a radio show where we talk about thoughts, feelings, emotions, and everything alike. Damn, I just made that up off the rip. Like, hello. Anyways, I have a script now. I mean, not a script. That sounds bad as if, like, these videos are scripted, but I have notes now, very thorough and well thought, put out notes so that you guys get better content. I'm not just yapping, and I want you guys to realize that I do put a lot of time into even these side project videos. I feel more motivated to sit in silence for once and think about different things other than wanting to scroll on reels very consistently. Now, I personally am I'm unsure about if I have depression. All right, I want to make that very clear. I am not diagnosed. None of that, all right? But I do want to say that I show signs of depression. I feel intense sadness. I feel a very lingering feeling all of the time. And most moments, I do not feel calm. Well, I feel calm in a sad way, but I don't feel overtly chill or happy most times. And that's not obviously not normal. It is hard for me to relax. I can feel intense emotions. And it could be anything else, but I do feel like I relate to so many other things. But mainly when people go through depressive stages of other disorders, I relate to those stages and I'm just like, okay, maybe it's just depression. Again, I don't want to call it depression to offend anybody who is actually actively depressed. So I'm gonna label it as intense sadness, but I do believe it's literally depression. And it does annoy me when I get labeled as someone who doesn't have depression or you should get a checkup. Like, I'd ask specific depressed people if for advice, and I'd be like, hey, I have signs of it. I don't know, how do you cope? You know, what do you do? Or like, etc., etc. And they'll just tell me you don't have depression, or like you need to get checked up because I can't help you. Which I guess is somewhat valid, but at the same time, like, it doesn't help me at all. I just feel more isolated because, I feel like I don't need a label, to represent these emotions, and I don't need a doctor to validate that for me. I feel like I know, and, when you're depressed, you know when you're depressed. It's kind of like, why the fuck am I always sad? And so, yeah, I wanted to clear that up swiftly, firmly, that I do not know if I have depression. I just don't. I don't want to be seen as like one of those people who Gen Zers, they always like try to label themselves and self-diagnose with their illnesses. Like, no, please don't think of me as one of those people because I'm just firm in the fact that I am not sure. I'm very firm in that matter. Oh god, like everything bad is happening all at once. Please, please chill. Please chill. Please, can you chill? Please, can you chill? Ow! Thank you. God. I've accepted this part of myself, this feelings of sadness, and I've affirmed myself that it's okay to feel this way and that I have made progress and I've gotten better. Especially over the past couple of years. Ooh. Can you stop? Can you stop? I try to look at myself instead of distracting myself like I tend to do, like a dummy. And I self-reflect. I do all of these things that you should do if you feel like you're depressed. Um the sad part is I'm not medicated, but I don't know. I feel like if you sometimes depression isn't genetic or whatever. I feel like some people do get through that depression, and it can take them years and years of unlearning and learning. I've been overwhelmingly happy and found peace in my sensitivity, my strong feelings that I feel like other people seem to not relate to or to lack in some areas. And I love things a lot more and can appreciate more than the average person. Um, I guess like it kind of feels like I'm bragging a bit. I just feel so many things. I'm like an empath. That's kind of like I feel like what I'm sounding like. But in actuality, I do get differentiated for a lot of the things that I guess like quote unquote obsess over or like get strongly attached to. Like with music, I appreciate music so much. I love thousands and thousands of songs. I memorize songs. I can listen to music over and over, appreciating so many albums and artists, and I am just deeply obsessed with music. And you know, I'll meet other people, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I love music." And I'm like, "Duh, everyone loves music." But like, how badly do you love music, you know? Like I don't meet other people or specific sorts of people that are as infatuated as me in a lot of things. And it makes me feel very different, very out of the norm. But I've accepted that. And I let people know, "Hey, like I don't feel these things the same as you, you know? I don't I can feel very disappointed when other people aren't or like I can feel very disappointed when someone doesn't appreciate something as much as me. I try to communicate as much as possible. And that's how I make great connections and that's how I like can keep a lot of good friends around me just by telling them how I feel and doing it in a very reasonable and logical way that isn't extraordinarily intense. And of course, with depression or intense sadness, there will always be flaws, and that is overindulgence and caring about people who considerably hurt you over and over. Scared of like attachment and kind of having to learn to quit talking or ignore people that show signs of, I guess, red flag behavior, if there's no other way of labeling it. Um, and show just no benefit to you as a person. And I don't mean materialistically, I just mean mentally. You know, you can't have a friendship without that mental benefit of, hey, I care about you. You're always there for me. I appreciate you. You know, that type of stuff. I mean, can you really like be friends with someone without hanging out and talking and etc. etc. Now, in the past, I've had issues with attachment, as I mentioned before. I care really deeply about people, and I'd spend time with them, like a lot of time. Just trying to scrape off whatever I can, just trying to make this person like me or change them or make them a better person, even though they're not open to change. And trying to be as empathetic as I can be and being like, maybe I'm the one in the wrong, you know, maybe blah blah blah. And I just didn't like the sole factor that I spent so much time with this person and now I have to let them go. It's like a very lonely feeling. But I got over it by realizing that, you know, people die one day. And I don't want to die knowing that I've spent so many precious moments of my life wasted on somebody that I don't care about or that doesn't, not don't care about, but doesn't care about me, you know? And surprise, surprise, you shouldn't care about someone that doesn't care about you. Duh. I have learned to trust my feelings overwhelmingly, and to kind of switch away from loving other people more than myself. And I'm not saying be a narcissist, love people, hate everyone else, but love yourself. No, I'm saying like just trust your gut, trust yourself, as I have learned to do. I had to kind of teach myself how to ignore and block people. Um, when they show, I feel like signs of narcissism or signs of lacking friendship wise, some people tend to care more about themselves than they realize and can hurt others in the process. And I feel like if someone is a narcissist, and I'm not gonna like, I'm not an expert, you know, but I'm gonna drop some knowledge. Some of them will not, they will not listen to you. They're a narcissist. They like to hear what they like to hear. So surprise, surprise, You can give them a goodbye message saying, hey, this is why I don't want to be your friend, and blah blah blah. And oftentimes they're not going to want to listen to you, and you just wasted your words. But I do believe that some people need to hear the truth, even though it hurts. But I do also believe that you don't have to always just spend your time letting people you don't want to talk to know how you feel. Distancing yourself from toxic people is a way to protect yourself, and it's a way to care about you. You don't have to talk to people you don't want to. Those people might feel like, oh, you're a shitty person because you didn't obligate yourself to me and let me know what I did wrong. It's like, you don't deserve to even talk to me anymore. Why should I affirm to you what you did wrong? You know? It's kind of like there are people who don't react well, and I feel like you can trust yourself in knowing that this person's not going to care if you talk to them. But of course, if you can, please communicate if you haven't already tried. I definitely communicate each time I'm uncomfortable or each time like someone does something. But when it comes to goodbye messages, if the other attempts haven't worked, then sometimes there's no point. And sometimes I believe it's okay to just block someone. But that's after communication. If you're just blocking someone and haven't told them beforehand what they've done to bother you, especially if it's something small, then that is pretty crappy to do, you know? Pretty crappy thing to do because they might just care about you. It's just like a feeling. Dealing with intense sadness most easily leads to demotivation. That's kind of like partly what sadness or depression is. And I've had my own method of digging myself out of my hole through kind of loving or caring about myself as a person and developing habits. These are two factors I'm going to talk about throughout this whole video. And I'm going to be stealing most of this information from the book Atomic Habits. And if you don't like reading, you can keep watching my video. But I do believe that you can read this book online or you can find this book. It's a great book. But of course, I'm not going to be mentioning every little thing from this book. There are other videos that do that themselves already, so you can go watch those. You should only act because you care about yourself, and don't commit to hobbies or activities because you want people to like you or whatever you want that requires a gratification or some sort of acceptance. I do think that that's pretty lame, to specifically commit to activities not because you care about yourself but because you just want attention. You're constantly seeking attention. I'm not saying it's lame in general. I think it's a very human thing to do. But I'm saying it's lame to yourself. You're not treating yourself humanely. You're not committing to a hobby or a specific activity out of pure love and interest in yourself. You're doing it for an outside point of view. You're basically asking for people who don't care about you to walk into your life. And surprise, surprise, you might end up getting hurt by those people. It just happens. Before having a hobby, of course, you need to love yourself. I think that's finite. I think that that's just how the world works. I mean, something that you don't really want to do. I feel like if you have an intense love for something, you'd commit to it. But I'm talking about exercising, playing a guitar, an instrument. It can require a lot of patience. And if you want to be patient, you gotta kind of like yourself a little. You gotta like the time that you spend with yourself. It's just kind of how the world works. Bo Burnham, essentially. You'll never be happy about that thing if you don't love yourself. Once you do get that part done, understanding yourself, feeling your emotions, learning to accept how you feel and how it is natural and human to feel bad sometimes or to make mistakes heavily, you'll learn how to commit to hobbies. You'll learn to commit to certain things and love yourself even more because you've done those things. Once that's out of the way, you want to make that thing so easy to do that you can't stop thinking about it. You're just like, whatever, it's so easy. I can get this done as fast as possible. Just kind of like thinking I'm a human, I'm a species, thinking of yourself in the most third person way as possible is how you can get yourself to rationalize or to not to commit to behaviors like, I'm a person, I'm a human being. How effective, or what's the most effective way to get myself to be addicted to exercising, right? Something that, I mean, we've exercised for generations and centuries of our life. Like, there are ways of getting addicted to exercising, like playing outside or meeting other people that exercise, have those hobbies, etc. We are very much people that love to survive. It's just in our genes. And if we realize that exercising comes with surviving or living or keeps you healthy, you'll gain well, I mean, I don't want to say you'll. I want to say I have learned to gain happiness in those things, which is so good. Like, uh do things because you're happy to be healthy. I don't like the whole I'm so bad, I'm eating a bag of chips, or like I'm so bad, I don't like water, I love drinking Monsters. I don't like that mentality. I think it's gross and I think it's icky. I do think that you should do things with the purpose of what you think is right or wrong and what you think will help you. Because, surprise, surprise, something is bad for you, it's bad for you, and it's just gonna hurt you over time. And you can manipulate yourself. Ah! And you can manipulate yourself into liking those things, but it will just hurt you. If it as like a toxic ex or something. It's like, but I can fix him. Or like trying to cancel out like behaviors. Like I did a 20-minute run, I should go eat a giant cake. Like, what? Hello? Like, no, you shouldn't. You just you just did a 20-minute run. That's like specifically why you shouldn't eat a giant cake. Like, what? It's fun to do things because you love yourself, and finding hard tasks because it makes you feel nice and you're happy with what you're doing afterwards. You do this thing every day to the point where you crave doing it. It's embedded in you. It's like an intense emotional feeling that you can't shake off. Same way you felt when you, for example, you were addicted to one bad thing you were doing, you feel the intense craving for the good things that you were doing. It's insane how that works, but it can work that way. That's how I feel when I, for example, take rest days and I'm working out. Is there an insane amount of mobs spawning, or is it just me? Like, I have put torches and light everywhere and it's not helping. Like, where the hell are these things coming from, dude? Old Minecraft is hard, man. It's so simple that it makes the game so difficult. I just can't manage. As someone who has dealt with intense sadness, I can be very obsessive. I also believe that this is just a trait that I have at this point. I've accepted it as it's a part of me. I can easily get obsessed with things. It's probably a human thing too. It's probably something we all have that we just don't notice. In this society, because I feel like we're taught to be obsessed with things. And I feel like we're taught to be insecure or sad from social media, which is something I'm gonna bring up soon. I've come to learn that if I do something for a certain amount of time, I get addicted to it. I can't get bored of eating healthy food, for example, of exercising. I've made it so fun for myself that again, I crave it. You make something so easy for yourself that you cannot stop doing it. It just feels so fun and it feels so good and it feels nice to do. It's just a warm and fuzzy little feeling inside. It's something I've made a part of me. I've kind of learned to use obsession as like a superpower. I'm like, whoa, dude, I can't stop winning type behavior. And each time you do a certain thing, it's easier to do. It's kind of how we are as humans. It's habitual, we'd say. Knowing that you can do a certain thing every day and knowing that it's so simple to do makes it even easier to do that thing. It is tricking your brain into liking something because of how easy it is to do, or because of how easy it was to teach yourself how to do things. And I also think that we should romanticize the things we don't like doing, because if good things are good to do, if good things are healthy for you to do, and if there are good feelings to doing those things, then you can romanticize yourself into wanting to do those things more. You don't have to treat it as a, you can treat it as a, oh wait, this is actually really relaxing and nice for me. I believe people that call themselves, lazy are cowards. I believe that that's a coward term that we like to romanticize ourselves. I'll use that word again. People who call themselves lazy, I think are cowards, yeah. It's a very lame thing to do versus like labeling yourself as a productive or manageable person can make you feel more like a productive, manageable person. I don't want you to lie to yourself and call yourself productive when you're not. You have to know that you are productive and do productive things to be calling yourself productive. It's just kind of like I don't want anybody to take, oh yeah, I should just call myself productive out of this, because like that would be lame behavior. This house, just a side note, this house feels awfully nostalgic to me because I have made houses like this in the past on Minecraft multiple times, and dude, I'm really feeling it. Like I still remember my style to this day. It's just four platforms and a bunch of glass. It's amazing how much I haven't changed when it comes to Minecraft. You do this so much, you do a certain thing so much to the point where you have to commit to it. It's an intense roller coaster. How did I mess this up? Do you see how much I messed this up? Now, a negative is the fact that it can feel almost impossible to stop hobbies that are bad for you. Negative hobbies, I'd call them. By the way, Atomic Habits, shout out to PewDiePie, because he's the reason why I read it in the first place. That guy has inspired me heavily, and I grew up watching his content. Anyways, sorry, I just wanted to get my sources, I guess, we'll call them that, out of the way. Moving on. Hobbies can take about 2 months to commit to, and it's the same the other way around. If you can make a certain thing you do so unattractive and difficult that it feels like awful to do, then you won't want to do it. It's just how humans work. You don't want to commit to something that you find ugly or unattractive or etc etc. Like, for example, I'm addicted to Instagram. To keep myself off from it, sometimes I put myself into the present, which, if you don't know how to do that, I'll put it into certain terms. Try this activity with me right now. Get off of your phone, get off of whatever might be distracting you, and just try this for a second. I'll put you in the moment. Just look around you and look at everything that you have. Look at the way that the room smells, or wherever you're at. What does it smell like? What do things feel like? How does it feel like to do what you're doing right now? What is your mind thinking at this current moment? What are you feeling? That is the present moment. With that out of the way, actively feeling my emotions as I'm using Instagram put me out of it. I point out, man, I don't like how insecure I feel when I open the app. I don't like the algorithm feeding me mush and trying to keep me entertained 24/7. I hate the withdrawal, etc. I hate who I am when I use the app. And then I stop. And now I'm still in the process of getting over social media, or the negatives of it. And it's very difficult. Um because when we do something dopaminergic for a while, it's hard to get off of it, especially me, with what I talked about before. And that's why it is very human and normal to relapse. I don't want to destroy this beach, so we're gonna move away to another beach. This is a very long, confusing, and slow process for a lot of people. Some people just get over things like that, but I'm not. I'm not one of those people. I do not get over anything ever, and I have to accept things more than I get over them. It's just who I am. I don't have notes at this point, so we're just gonna wing it. That's my plan. I like winging these things. I feel like we have to be understanding of ourselves. Before we stop doing something, we have to learn to understand it, and a lot of us suck at doing that. In general, like, we're like, hey, why do I feel this way? And I think instead of thinking why, and being more emotional than logical in a moment, which is normal because when we think things, we feel them before we use logic around them. Instead of saying, why do I feel these things? We should be like, oh, how do these emotions come about? How do these things happen? And then we can put ourselves into the more humanistic perspective. Using the third person perspective can help us a lot, because it's kind of like being the best friend for ourselves that is giving ourselves advice. Because a lot of the times we have the no for the things that we do wrong, or we have the no for the reason why we feel certain things. And we just have to dig into ourselves to find that answer. And it can be difficult and stressful, but it is how we grow to stay motivated and to stay disciplined. And being understanding of yourself, treating yourself as your own girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, etc., can help a lot. It can make you realize your love for yourself, and it can keep you, again, motivated. Just try these things. Just try to be your own best friend, because nobody is going to do that for you. Everyone's going to disappoint you. And the reason why everyone's going to disappoint you is because people do not stop wanting and people do not stop craving. It's who we are. We're just people. People will never be satisfied with you, especially if you don't change. And you have to be the one to sit yourself down and to be happy with yourself. If they won't do it, then you have to. And that's it for Warnish Radio. I hope you guys treat yourself to something nice after this. I hope you guys take a minute to go outside, look at the trees, go to a park, or try reading that book that you've been avoiding for a while. I don't know, pet your dog or your cat, or do something for you that makes you happy. Just try to spend a moment without thinking about ways of getting people to like you 24/7, and instead think of ways to like yourself and be happy with yourself. I know that if you have finished watching this video, then you must be pretty cool, because you're trying to find a way to listen to something or be productive with something. It's kind of cool. That's kind of cool of you, you know? Sorry, this was a long one. I realize that, but I do believe it's my best one. So yeah, thank you. I don't want to call creepers creepers. I think they're just walking terrorists. I think that's what they should be called. I think that's an appropriate term for creepers. Walking terrorists.